everyone, it's Sherry from the blog OurLifeHomeschooling.com, where I share homeschooling encouragement for everyday moms. Today I'm going to be doing a little bit more of an informal video. I'm going to be giving you an update on the homeschool plans that I have for the next year and just talking about what I do to prepare for a new year, some of the books we'll be reading, some of the new plans that I have, and just a review of some of the old things that we've been doing for all these years that we're going to keep doing. If you're new to the blog, my name is Sherry. I am a homeschooling mom to 10 kids. I'm married to my high school sweetheart, Nelson. We've been married for 23 years. I'm a former public school teacher turned homeschool mom. I love encouraging other moms on my YouTube channel and on the blog OurLifeHomeschooling.com. If you like the content that you see here, would you do me a favor and like and subscribe? I want to give you a little update on our family. On this channel, if you're familiar with it, I don't go into too much detail about some of the things that are happening around here. I just give a lot of homeschooling advice and talk about the things that I've learned from my experience in homeschooling. But today I just want to get a little personal and tell you what's been going on and what I do to prepare for a new school year and what plans we have for this school year. We've just finished up our harvest season, so we still have some food that's coming in. We live on a small property. It's almost 4 acres, and we raise all our own chickens on this property and our own pork. And I have a friend that we raise pork for her in exchange for beef. So all of our meat we raise here on our own property. We have a huge garden, and we try to preserve as much from that as we can. This is something that my husband and I both love to do, and one of the reasons that we love doing it is that it's such a learning process for our kids. They're involved in all of it, from when we get the animals at first, feeding them, the daily care, and then in the end we do some of our own processing. Some of it we have hired a butcher to take care of, but with our vegetable garden and our fruit trees, our kids are involved in the process of preserving all of that, which is something that has become so familiar to them and us. They have learned so much from it, and I really love that we do it. So even though we don't, by the books or on paper, do school during the summer, I feel like they truly learn so much in the summer because if they could teach classes on how to can applesauce, how to preserve strawberry jam or peaches. They know all this stuff because it's so familiar to them. So I love that this is a part of our life and that it's something that they can join along with us in. But it also is just so much work at this time of the year when everything's coming in. I had a table over here that was piled high with zucchini and squash. I mean, we had so much of it. Then our tomatoes came in and I couldn't keep up with them. The apples, everything just seems to happen at once. So we enjoy it, but it is also overwhelming, and I'm glad when it's over and it's in our basement or in our freezer and we can just settle down and get right back into school, which is about where we are now. We have a few more things we're finishing up. I have some red beets to do, but it's really nice to just kind of put that aside and start back into something new, open our books again and get started with school. Another thing that we have done a couple years in a row now is we've started our school year with a week of camping, which we did last week. It was really fun. The reason we've done it this way, we have to wait until our chickens are all gone It's just easier for us. And of course, when we do it in the fall, most of the time schools are already in session. I think last year we went after Labor Day. So I'm not sure if this is something we'll always do, but we've really enjoyed taking a family camping trip before we start school. And our oldest son is heading off to college this Friday. So we wanted to make sure that we got that in before he leaves and, is gone from us for a couple months. So we had a great time just doing some simple things. We didn't spend a lot of money. We didn't go to any expensive places, but we played board games. We went in the creek. There was this huge creek there. The kids were fishing for crawdads, and then all the ones they caught, they filleted them and made their own dinner. We played family volleyball games, lots of them. We just sat by the campfire. We watched movies most of the nights. It was just a really great time. We stayed at a state park, so there was no cell phone reception. It was just a great boundary for us as well as our oldest son. No one could be on their cell phones. There were no distractions. We could just be together and enjoy each other's company. Now, of course, with any normal family trip or just normal family life, it's not without problems. While we were gone, our pigs got out of their gate, and our poor neighbor, who is so kind to take care of them, had to come back and deal with that. When we got home, one of our freezer doors had been left open, so some of our stuff had thawed out. When we were on the trip, we had like 4 or 5 things break down that we had to, when we come back, we know we have to fix those things on top of all that we're doing just to get ready for a new school year and to start back in. So I'm telling you all this because these are normal parts of life that just happen. And I know they don't just happen to us. They happen to everyone. You come back and your sink is broken, and all of a sudden everything stops because we have to fix the kitchen sink because everything revolves around getting the dishes done, getting meals made. I know these are problems that everyone has. And when I talk on this channel about things like keeping your homeschool simple, about letting your school life revolve around your home. This is why I make this a priority in our homeschool, to keep things simple and to make things revolve around our home life rather than letting school overwhelm and consume us. If any of you are familiar with some of my earlier videos, I was a former public school teacher, and when I first started homeschooling, I was very academic, and I think a lot of moms feel this pressure that they have to perform to a certain standard. They want their kids to be ahead. They don't know what to expect, all of those things. And I think sometimes, at least I know I did, I overcompensated and we worked really hard. We did more than was necessary. School was definitely our focus. I was a lot more academic. And over the years, what I have learned for us, especially as our family has grown, is to be a lot more laid back about it. It does not hurt the kids. In fact, it has the opposite effect. They enjoy learning, so they retain it more. I think earlier on, I probably assigned too many books or too difficult of books. And it was so much, they didn't retain it, they didn't enjoy it. And I'm not saying that it's not good to give our kids a rigorous education. I like my kids to be challenged. But I have become more laid back because I know what it's like to be interrupted by babies, toddlers, and just life. When you're in a home, you're interrupted by life. And some of these problems we had coming back from our camping trip or on the trip as well, these are just normal things that happen. And so if you change your homeschool into more of a lifestyle where you're just picking things up and starting again, if it's really laid back, it takes so much pressure off of you. And what I think you'll find, and what I've found over the years, is that kids excel in this kind of environment. They are natural learners. My kids are really excited to open our books again. And this is normal. This is how it should be. For them, it's just something different. When we started in the spring, we put the books away, we were done with school, and we were gardening and getting our animals and doing all that. They were excited about that because it was something different. And now they've been doing that for a while, and this is a change of pace. So letting your homeschool just fit around the edges of your home life is so effective, and it does really well. I've seen that kids thrive under this kind of learning. So because of that, we've had a slow start. On paper, we started school last year. So in Pennsylvania, you have to start counting days. You have to have 180 days. And so on paper, that's when we started. For us, it's been very informal this year. It hasn't always been that way. When I was a newer homeschool mom, I spent a lot more time planning, but we've been doing this many years now. And so for us, when we started that first day, I didn't have everything ready. These are my kids' work boxes, and on our first day, I just said, okay, get out your work boxes, get out your math, see where you are in math, do a little bit of math, do a little bit of writing, and I'm always reading to them. We read aloud to them all through the summer. So that never really changes. And then we did a little bit of morning time. And on that first day, I start looking into, okay, what books do I need to order for next year for math? What are they going to be moving on to next? We have consumable math books. I do Singapore. So I look at that. I get out some of my Ambleside stuff and look at what I want them to be reading for next year. Another thing that I like to do is order brand new books for each of my kids, just a fun reading book. And in the past, I've had them open them on the first day, so I've done a little bit of prep ahead of time. But the kids knew this year we have been so busy with our harvest that I said, we're going to start school, but it's not going to be until I gave them a certain date that I'll have your books here wrapped and ready for us to open, and that's going to be our special time. But I do like to order them new books every year, and so this is something I started doing the first day. I also take a look at their checklists when we start school. Now, I'm sure most of you probably have all this done ahead of time, and that's great if you have that prepared for them. I'm just saying you don't have to. I have in the past, you don't have to. But that first day of school was when I got things out again. I looked and I thought, okay, well, I need to start making a checklist for this child. I'll get out the computer. I'll look at what we did last year. I'll sit down and ask her, what books do you want to read this next year? Or what are you interested in doing? There's things that I have already planned that we just normally do in math and reading. Those are just kind of set. But I like to give them a little bit of freedom in what they choose. I look at some of the Ambleside books. I've done a post on how we make Ambleside online work for our family. And I've listed on there a lot of the books that I have my kids read. We don't do all of them, but I'll see where that child is with their reading list and see what books they have next on the Ambleside list that I would like for them to read. So when we start school, it is a slow start, and I know some of you probably love preparing for school and have everything all set, and that's great. And I have been that way in the past, but I'm sharing with you what it looks like in our season. And I know that there are going to be some people that really relate to this because life happens and we're not always super prepared. We don't always have our ducks in a row. And this simple, slow start works as well. So if you are this person, if you don't feel like you have everything prepared, if your homeschool seems simple and you're just making a little bit of progress every day, this also is a great way to start. It works. And truthfully, I feel like kids thrive in a laid-back environment. So for us, on that first week of school, we open up the books again, we look at where we ended last year, and we just get started. If you're familiar with a lot of the things I've posted about, I don't finish second grade by second grade. I don't get all of the curriculum done in a year. Our priority and our focus in school is to just be making progress and moving forward every day. There's a couple things that I do to prepare for a new school year, and this is what I opened up and got back to on that first day. The first one is to plan out some of the things that I'll be doing for morning time. I have created an ebook, so I actually looked at this over the summer, all the things that I want to do for morning time. This is the simple morning time notebook that I'm going to be using for morning time this year with our kids. I have this on the blog if you would like to purchase one for yourself. If you are someone who loves Ambleside online, this is the way I make it work for our large family. For me, I think it's very rich, but ultra light. because I want them to have a feast. I want them to have the best of art and music and all these beautiful things, but I also want it to be something that's just doable for us with multiple kids with a wide age range. So if you are interested in taking a look at this, this is on my website, and this is the morning time plans that I have for the year. So everything in here is what we will be doing for the whole year. So the first thing I do is plan out a morning time. The second thing is to get out the kids' checklists. And like I was sharing with you before, I look at what we did last year, I sit down with the child, I put on there what I want them to accomplish for the next year, and then I ask them, what are you interested in doing? What would you like to focus on? Is there something you really want to learn? If you involve them in their learning, then they're going to be more excited about it and they're going to want to get started. The third thing I do to plan for a new school year is to pick out some of the read aloud books that we're going to be doing. Over the summer, I did some of these All of a Kind family books. There's All of a Kind Family Downtown, more All of a Kind Family, and we're just finishing up one of these, so we'll finish up that book. Another book I have planned is The Secret Garden. This is one I read to the kids, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, and we just loved it, but it's been quite a while, so a lot of the kids who are listening now haven't even heard this story. So this is one we'll be going to next. Those are the three things I basically do to plan for a school year, a new school year. Our routine looks very simple. If you want to look back at some of my older videos, you can see what our routine looks like. It's morning time where we work together as a group doing the group subjects. Then they are dismissed to do chores and all of their independent work, which they use checklists to do this. And then the third thing is after lunch, we gather again and I read aloud to them. That's just the basic framework of how our homeschool looks. One more thing that I'm doing that's totally new, I thought I would share with you. I am going off the map with science this year. In the past, I've pretty much done Apologia, and we've done that a lot, and I've just wanted to do something different. And I found that what we have been doing, my older kids are not engaged, and I just feel like we need to change it up. So this year, I have found some things that I'm going to be doing. The first one is a series on Amazon Prime. I'll link it below. It's called DIY Xploration Science. It's 20-minute videos, and there are enough seasons and enough shows that I think I can show about 2 a week. So I'll plan to show them 2 a week. I already showed them one, and after I did it, they tried all of the experiments in them, and including my oldest son, who is one that just really likes that kind of learning. So I plan to be showing those, and then I also am going to read some Ambleside books that I just really like. In the past, I think I've read Archimedes and the Door of Science as a read aloud book. The kids really like that. So I'm going to just be going through, this is The Mystery of the Periodic Table. It has really short chapters, and it just seems like one that would be readable and would really be interesting to learn. The other one is The Storybook of Science. This has several chapters. I don't know if I'll read all of them, but I'll probably pick and choose out of here. Each chapter is about a different science topic, and it's told in story form. So I've read some of these to the kids before. I just really like the characters in here, and I like the content. So we're kind of moving away from a textbook style of science and into just picking things up here and there between the science channel that we're going to be watching and some of these individual read aloud books. It's just going to be a little bit different, and I'm looking forward to the change. In school this year, we have 7. The oldest is, 10th grade, 9th grade, 7th, 5th, 3rd, 1st, and kindergarten. And then we also have a toddler who's a 2-year-old and a 7-month-old. So it's going to be a challenging year, but I'm really excited to see what the kids are going to be learning, to learn alongside with them, and to just shift from all of our work outside, bring it back in, open up our books, and I think it's going to be a really great year. I hope that this gave you some inspiration and just some ideas, a little peek into our homeschool and what our life looks like. If you have questions, you can drop them below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.